Hello, good evening, and welcome to UPfront. Tonight, I bring you one man that I've been trying very hard to get to speak to about the health evolution in Ghana. It was surprising to many that a man who has so much success in the private sector was elected to head the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. I'm sure you now know. Dr.Anyah is my guest. He recently left Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. We'll be talking about his time at Korle Bu Teaching Hospital and the lessons we can learn there for public service. And what else has been happening with Dr. Anyah? Is he going to take back the spa or finally retire along the line? After this break. Welcome back to UPfront. My name is Raymond Akwa. My guest today is Dr. Anyah. Until recently, he was the CEO of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, one hotbed, and I, in my lifetime, have not seen any CEO survive for a very long time in that particular seat. But I seem to have had a very wonderful stay in that place. Doc, you're welcome to UPfront.
Thank you so much.
I hope you are doing well.
I'm excellent.
And we are great for a time. I mean, it's been difficult trying to get you for a very long time. So, thankfully, we now have you.
Yeah.
Now, the first point is...
I'm media shy. I like my actions more to show that to come to the media. So
okay. I get your point.
Yeah.
Do you know why you were chosen to head Korle Bu?
I was told that the place is not running well, and so they thought that I'd had a lot of experience in the health sector to be able to manage the place. So I believe that, and it was a joy that I could go back to my alma mater, a place I'd graduated from almost 40 years back.
Okay.
And I believe that I know so much about the place from more than 40 years to now. My daughters all qualified there. My daughters' husbands qualified there.
I see.
I have so much relationship with Korle Bu for the past 40 years. And I think I know so much of Korle Bu. So it was a joy to go back there. And I'm happy that within 1 year, I was really able to win the overall best CEO. Yesterday was the second day that people say I cried, but this time still alone in my room.
Okay. And
the first one was there. The two occasions are all things that relate to things that we could easily do, but circumstances don't permit us to do. And it was yesterday when I look at, first I saw Joy TV talking about this 70-year-old person who was going about because of, and died.
Went to 7 different health facilities.
And they said there was no bed.
There was no bed.
In this century, that is an archaic excuse. It's an unacceptable excuse. It's sad. It's very sad. I said I cried alone. That this is something that we could solve in 3 months. And we could solve this issue at no cost even to the government.
That sounds strange.
And we can solve bed. You see, when we talk of bed management, we talk of managing of the beds. It doesn't mean that there is no free bed.
Okay.
You understand? And internationally, there are benchmarks on how they are managed. I've taught my first time there, the very first week, I started addressing this issue. And by God's grace, I met the vice president twice on issues relating to how to, well, that was one of the big things. So I believe we can talk about it, but bed management, if you have a software, for example, that looks at all, there's a software within in an end-to-end hospital management system, which we have just had an MOU with, And the software talks about, has a bed management component in which you know all the beds you have in the hospital. And you know which are free, which will be free. If there's an emergency that is in the ward, you don't only admit emergencies in an emergency room. We have an emergency team that is on duty. And the bed management, the bed management works in such a way that the emergency room is linked up to any available bed in the hospital, and then the team goes there. So there's no reason why you should feel somebody because a few beds in the emergency room is occupied. So, and this is benchmark. This happens in the US, in Israel, in every country. And it's not rocket science. It's simple. It's very simple. And right from June when I was employed, I've been talking about this issue. But for one reason or the other, it hasn't materialized. And it's about to be materialized.
I see.
And this so yesterday, yes, I just went over that because things that can easily be done to save life, we don't do it. The innovation really is to have this software, which then would let you have a real-time view of how many people are in the hospital, how many people have come to OPD, how many people are in this ward, how much have we got from here from the radiology, how much do you get from this ward, how much do you expect to get and how much are you getting, projections and all that. I mean, real time, there's nothing. As it is today, Korle Bu doesn't know how much he earns in a day.
It's not possible.
That's what has happened.
But that doesn't make sense.
Yes, but that's what it is. And it is
saying that the money is being collected, but nobody's accounting for the money at the end of the day. Or the accounting system is such a way that it's impossible to verify the amount involved. Because, I mean, to be fair, it's a big institution, but this doesn't sound like a very...
Put it this way, yes. If you go to EcoBank, if you go to Stanchart, if you go to Barclays, we're not writing official receipts. We use
computers. We actually use the computer.
Yes.
What I get from this is also an important question. So, for example, since you do not know the number of people that walk into Korle Bu each day, and you cannot have any proper system of tracking it or being able to actually cross-check that, it invariably means you don't know whether they pay money or don't pay money.
So you are at the mercy of the person who says, this is the amount of money I got.
That's an interesting point. So you can't cross-check that.
There's no way
you can't validate that.
You can't validate that.
Interesting.
So there are two banks that work there. And so they said, this is the amount that I had. And so the amount that
it is final.
It's final. You can't know.
But why would such a big hospital run on such a system for God knows how long?
I think that probably also fits in with my next vision. Okay. That is the policies.
Okay.
We need policies that will drive an institution. First of all, there's a National Development Commission, and there's a health component to the National Development Commission. The ministry, the agencies and the boards and all those involved that we can mention names should have their policy frameworks or sub-policy frameworks fitting into the National Development Commission health agenda. And so the policies of the ministry teaming up with the policies of the National Development Commission should be both dynamic and collaboratory.
Okay.
So, insofar as the health sector, so many things develop so fast. Technology, equipment, systems of operations, they are so fast. And so should be the health policy guidelines. They are virtually archaic policies or vague policies. And so when you have vague policies, we can't work on that. There is bound to be confusion.
They are not really updated.
Yes, already the policies are vague, you know, and so you don't understand them. Some policies are thrown on from outside into the Korle Bu, and Korle Bu,
it doesn't fit in.
Yes, good people in Korle Bu get confused.
Okay.
You know, for example, I mean, policy on projects. I have always insisted, and I've talking about it, that we need policies on projects. And probably if we want to, later we'll talk about the major problems in Korle Bu. The major problems in Korle Bu are because of the absence of clear guide policies on projects and the advantages or weaknesses involved in those, in the absence of such policies. You know, so projects are probably the biggest problem that Korle Bu has.
Interesting.
So policy and policy framework, there are so many vague areas, for example, that create unnecessary. Look, Korle Bu is not a difficult place. Korle Bu has the right people who are compassionate, who want to work. Look, I'm a doctor, and I know how doctors feel. But doctors don't really care about. Everybody likes money. But I can tell you that many doctors, their emphasis is on money.
Okay.
They want to save life, and they want to earn, they want to be comfortable. Many doctors are not looking at being rich. They want to be comfortable. But above all, they think that they have a calling to save life.
I see.
But the system is not helping the majority. Granted, the system also have created a few who then appear to be linked up with the external sources where policies, vague policies are put onto the system, and then there are benefits. Okay. But I believe these are the very few, probably 5%.
So a predominant number are the ones whose ultimately
probably 90% of workers from all over, they are committed. They just want to save life.
It's not because it's you, so they treated you nicely. I mean, the other people before him, and the other students. I mean, even world-class surgeons had difficulty managing that particular institution.
Yes, that's how I mean that the systems, the people who create their vague systems are those people who throw the problems onto them.
Okay, since you start talking about problems,
there are vague systems that are thrown onto the system, and there are absence of certain policies that you find it difficult manipulate. For example, if you come to the project one, probably I'll talk about it later. But if you look at a major, easily avoidable issue of an act, which is one of my visions, the Act 525.
Okay. Yeah.
Act 525 have been there for 21 years plus.
Not reviewed, not amended.
Not only not amended, which it has to be, but then there's no LI. There's no legislative
for 25 years.
For 21 years. There's no legislative amendment.
Operationalizing
the act.
I see.
And there are so many actors. Korle Bu is there. Korle Bu has so many linkages. Korle Bu is a teaching hospital by virtue of the fact that there's a teaching facility inside there. So there's a relationship that is captured in the act. But there's no legislative instrument speaking into the operationalization of the
relationship between those two institutions.
Yes. Yeah. So, for example, you say every Korle Bu teaching hospital will appoint the head of every department in consultation with the medical school. In reality, it doesn't happen that way. And in reality, it doesn't happen. In reality,
there's no consultation or there's no appointment.
There's appointment, but the appointment is by the medical school.
So it's not by the
Korle Bu, which is what the act says. And there's no LI.
I see.
So
is it because it's the medical school that pays the people?
No, I'm just talking about the fact that I'm using this as an example
to it. Yeah.
That there's no legislative instrument
that spells out
the understanding of what the law wants to say. If you look at the Korle Bu and the colleges, the Ghana College of the Physicians, College of Pharmacists, and all the rest. If you want to go and train somebody, you are training a doctor to be a surgeon. The training is in the teaching hospital or in the school. The school is Korle Bu. And so the school is the one that uses its electricity, its resources, its teachers, its everything to pay for the people. But the irony is that, unlike what we see in the traditional system, in what really should prevail, if you go into school, your parents pay the school, and the school that the teachers and the utilities and everything are used.
Okay.
And then just a minute. Yeah. And then you pay when it's time to write an exam, you pay the WAEC. But in this system, if Korle Bu, people who are being trained in Korle Bu, using Korle Bu's resources, every Korle Bu's resources, the payment rather is paid to the examining body.
Really?
And Korle Bu is the one that
they intend to pay you?
No.
I see.
So I'm saying, so there's
structural problems. Yeah.
No, the absence of LI that should speak into the act is creating avoidable problems. So Korle Bu is being drained. Even if Korle Bu wants to train somebody, and Korle Bu is the school, the Korle Bu pays school fees to WAEC instead of do you understand me? Which is an abnormality. So, like I said, the other part of my vision is to have a review of the act and also make sure that there's an ally that speaks into the act, so that these are only two. But many of the issues that you say confronted my predecessors, and believe me, I've talked to almost all the previous CEOs.
Okay.
Before I took up, I spoke to all my friends. I spoke to almost all of them, and I spoke to almost all the administrators. So I have a very good understanding of the issues.
I see. When we return from this break,
as I said,
yes, when we return from this break, we'll be able to appreciate better what the other problems at Korle Bu are, what you were able to do about these problems, and going into the future, talk about health systems in Ghana, and why you are so sad for the no-bed syndrome that's killing Ghanaians in some ways. After this break. You welcome back. This is UPfront. My name is Raymond Akwas. We have a very exciting conversation, more like a post-mortem of the entire institution that actually does some of those works too. And I'm using the health words because this is a health conversation. And I'm having one of the best brains we have in this country, who recently left Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Anyah. And we virtually went on the break talking about the Korle Bu vision that he wanted to deploy. Doc, welcome back. We surely should be able to briefly run through the vision and talk about your achievements there. What were you able to do about the things you met, and which part of your vision were you able to implement at Korle Bu? First, you talk about a few things on the vision plan, the ICT part, the healing part, and all of that. What else is left on the vision plate?
Yeah, just to make it brief, another big area is the reward system.
Okay.
A reward system and a welfare system. A reward system where, based on the vision you have, you can the corporate culture that has developed, the way people think, the way people behave, the way people do, you could have a reward system that will reward people who are working towards that vision. And in addition to that, I even bought 2 cars that two brand new cars that I put down, that the board, when it is when the board comes over and the board accepts medical tourism as a hub, then we create the reward system that will let people win any of these two cars, plus other things that I have. And so the cars will assume be licensed with KBTH1, KBTH2, and I'm sure you can even say it. So reward system and the welfare system. Korle Bu has a system that even people who are sick in Korle Bu have to pay, and they pay.
Workers of Korle Bu.
The workers of Korle Bu
Have to pay for medical.
Even people who have worked in Korle Bu for probably 40 years, when they are sick, it's still difficult. You understand? 25 years, 30 years, and you see the interplay is negative because we work in a socio-cultural environment that we need to refine it. The welfare system, their housing, their health packages, we need to look at that. But then the other issue is how to make at least 3 key areas in my vision: the finance, the human resource, and the audit. I think that the finance should look more at management accounting, a more proactive way of looking at the policies that bring up the financials, than which is more proactive, which is more forward-looking. How do I create wealth? Than sitting down and the old system of historical financial accounting, financial management, where this is how much I had, I put this one here, I pay people. This is how much I have. That is old-fashioned.
Okay.
We should look at how much should I anticipate, how much should I get, how many people. You do get the point. So that is short. So financial management, the financial directorate should look more proactively at management accounting than financial accounting. And then 2, the human resource. Because of all the heads and all the court cases and all the terminations and all the people who work so hard and retire like mad people or die and the rest, there's a need. It has created a negative culture. And the organizational culture these days, so many researchers have said that to able to drive an organization is the organizational culture that first, in terms of broadly the HR, is the one that leads.
Okay.
And so many researchers all over the universities are now coming out. So I have in fact, we've just started working, have a whole bunch of new graduates who are looking at all the researches on human organizational culture and using how to Ghanaize it so that we can use it to drive the way Korle Bu thinks, the way people feel, the way people act, the way they come to work, the way they dress, the way they talk to clients. It's all driven by the HR using the newer researches on organizational culture. The third was also
still mindful that it's a public sector, not a private sector.
Come again.
Still mindful that it's a public sector, not a private sector.
Oh yes, yeah. It is.
In this country there's a public sector mentality that is way too different from what the private sector.
When all these systems build, we have Rwanda, and we can't say that Rwanda is not African country.
Yes, it is.
And they're working perfectly. They're way ahead after a war. So Ghana can change. When we bring in the right policies and guide, we can change.
I get your point.
Yeah. So the other one is also the audit. We need in Korle Bu to do more pre-auditing. They said a gift-based system does post-auditing. No. We need to do pre-auditing, that's one. And also, it's archaic just with looking at auditing financials. We should audit operations. How many people should do this work? How long should this work be done? You should audit operations. And so, in a brief, these areas are the key visions that I had in mind.
Now let's talk about achievements. Were you able to achieve all of them?
I think by and large, the foundation has been laid. And there have been a lot of achievements. And when you talk about achievements, it's a teamwork, but it's driven a lot by leadership.
Okay.
And so the first, which we all will see, is that there have been industrial peace in Korle Bu for the past 1 year while I was there. I mean, Korle Bu, there was no turbulence, there was nothing. People tried, a few people who used them, they tried to create so many things, it didn't work. So there was peace in Korle Bu. And that peace was due to the healing process, the strategies to heal. And obviously, unfortunately, turned out to be seen in how they both will say no. For the first time in the history of Korle Bu,
it's when there's an attempt to remove the CEO that rather want to complain.
Yeah, because human beings know what is good. Human beings can identify with progress. So it is not true that, like I said, Korle Bu, about 90% of the workers are committed, and when they see the right systems operation, they're ready to imbibe it. And when they see that you have the skills to read into the machinations of the externals, of the external people, and to block it, they will be for you.
I see.
And I think that I heard what somebody said. If you have to bring somebody as experienced and as exposed to understand the system as this man, it was so cheap. I can't see it well.
Okay, that's interesting.
But so one is that there was industrial peace. The second is I talk about projects. There was, as in November 2016, a whole money was spent on emergency units, and the following day it rained, and the whole place leaked. Machines have to be rushed to be hidden because otherwise they will spoil. And since that time until I took up in June, about 6 months, the place is still not working. Throughout, it's not working. I had to move, and we have limited money. I had to move, go and beg DMOD to come and give us some credit terms and the rest to be able to come and roof for us. We have to, and see, in terms of policy running Korle Bu, because of the action on policies, and especially the crucial thing, the people who scheme these projects, and I'm sorry to use the word scheme. When they scheme these projects, they exclude Korle Bu people from their projects. Yes, and that is something that is destructive. So, if we come to this emergency, it is done. Nobody in Korle Bu effectively is involved. They said they've handed over, the place cannot be used. And so Korle Bu then uses his little IGF to be able to see how to put this thing back. Meanwhile, they said no best syndrome. People are still dying. People are still dying. And you have an emergency unit that people have brought up, they've coined, they pushed there, and it's not working. And by God's grace, if you talk about achievements, I was able to define it, moved out, find within the lack of resources to be able to get, luckily to get DMOD to be able to come and roof it because we didn't really have the money. And it's been roofed. I was able to get, as we speak now, we have to, you see, it was even done because without involvement of Korle Bu, and for obvious reasons, they didn't realize that Korle Bu, the outages, the electric current outages, you can't put those sensitive equipments in there. So you now have to get a consultant to look at. There are about 6 things about electricity that can damage equipment, and we have to navigate financials and things and get this thing imported into Korle Bu. We just received it this month. It's being implemented. I'll show you it's being put. So by 15th of July, we're going to commission the place. And now all the mistakes that they made, and there were so many, I've corrected all. So the second achievement is to make sure that we are close to reducing the Nobel syndrome, even without the software.
Reducing it?
Reducing it.
Substantively or just by a small
and I said,
margin?
we're close to, because this one has an 80 bed capacity, the other one is just so small. And this one has, the systems I've put in place to make it run, is obviously going to reduce the Nobel syndrome. I said, if you have to reduce it, there's also another project, which is a trauma, the Saudi Kuwaiti funded trauma, which is a modern day emergency center that will befit Korle Bu as the ultimate tertiary care unit. For one reason or the other, which is obvious again, for more than 5 to 6 years, the money is waiting more than $55 million. It cannot be used because a few people in the ministry are sitting on it and drawing money from that sector. You know, so I'm talking of this Nobel syndrome. It's sad that we've allowed certain things to happen, which we shouldn't have allowed. If somebody is ready with money to give us, and find few people sitting on money and taking part of the money and until, in fact, I can show you some documents that even the Minister of Foreign Affairs has written to stop this one. It said, accordingly, attention is being drawn to the fact that the right to make withdrawals from the loan agreement, Kuwaiti Fund Loan number 860, expired on the 30th December 2017.
I see.
So there's money.
So this is money to make Korle Bu actually
to build the
trauma
the name is even deceptive. It's an accident and emergency unit.
Okay.
A&E. And what we have there, what we view is an improvement. It's nowhere near this. Probably 10% of this.
Yes.
And the money, there are 4 major, the Kuwaiti Fund, the Saudi Fund, the Badia, they all come together. And they are all going to do this for almost 6 years. So people are sitting down, chopping into this.
I don't understand how that's possible.
We'll talk about it.
My difficulty is that if the money is available and we need a center, we need to save lives, why are we not getting the money?
Yes, that's why I'm saying that the policy on projects need immediately to be looked at, and that can solve that. But so still we're talking about achievements. So we're going to commission this new one. By God's grace, me and my team, we've been able to redo the things that the imposed people couldn't do. They have gone. Thirdly, we could see oxygen. For 2 years, there was no oxygen in Korle Bu. And this is also part of the imposed projects. Okay. They get businessmen to go and get oxygen, buy oxygen, come and put it. No agency, Korle Bu doesn't know about it. There's no somebody to be maintaining it. It's not in the contract. Korle Bu doesn't know. The only thing is that the businessman has gone, put it there. I won't add other words, but then it is there. Now, they say it is breaking down. For 2 years, when I went in, the first week, they brought me a contract. It's about $4.6 million to buy a new one. And I said, this is June. For 10 days in June, and with my private sector experience, I was able to get to France. I was able to connect through to Burkina and all of them. And in 10 days, I repaired 2 of their plants in June. So I started on June 3rd. By 28 June, I've repaired 2 plants that they say cannot be repaired. They've created a budget of almost $4.6 billion to go and import a new one. And now we're able to use that. The previous... The thing that they said they abandoned and that they've created, and I tell you, the system is now going to do that thing again. I pray they don't do it again. We need to be awake. You know. But then, and then after a month, we had the other systems, and then so now we have oxygen running. We have pipe oxygen to all the emergency units, to DICU, to the wards, to all the rest. Places that I don't have no pipes, we filling cylinders. We're saving Korle Bu. In the first place, the big millions of dollars that they intended to spend on this.
Have you saved?
We spent only $72,000
to repair the existing ones.
€70,000 instead of the billions of dollars.
Okay.
And then it is working. So the third thing I want to talk about is the oxygen. I mean, the fourth, if you want to look at it, is that you could remember the U10 raids.
Yeah.
When it rained, Korle Bu's analog telephone system was broken down. And so for 2 years, Korle Bu, there was no contact with Korle Bu. If you want to ring anybody from Korle Bu from inside in Ghana or outside, you can't. You know, within 2 months, I was able to get a digital, not analog, a digital telephone system installed in Korle Bu. So now 30 people can call Korle Bu simultaneously and speak.
Okay.
Korle Bu is not connected to the outside world. And this is the whole operation is also the modding of everything. Thirdly, I just want to rush it. We have an ICT infrastructure, and because of the software which we need, I've taken the first 1 year to make sure that we are almost complete with the network, the underground network, the system that we'll put in place just to be able to offshoot the system. So the ICT infrastructure is well laid down, so that we only need the software, and that Korle Bu is moving to be able to get the money that it should get.
And this software is the one that's supposed to solve the bed problem. That's supposed to solve the accounting problems too.
It will solve every problem. It will solve so many problems. I'm talking about modern day management is based upon ICT.
I get you.
You know, so ICT infrastructure, and you can see at the awards, it was mentioned profusely. You know, so if we want to talk, we have a modern day firewall. You know, that hackers cannot come into it. We have a 360 office this thing put there that almost all workers, all the 5,000 workers can have emails. You know, so the ICT infrastructure has been well laid now.
Yeah, looks like very solid systems. And yes, do you have any more to add?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, let's put it this way. Before I started, food was served from kitchen to the wards. I bought a food van with my own money.
Okay.
So that food can be transported healthily to the hospitals.
I see.
When I started, the security was very. I have to improve security. I used my money to buy a motorbike for the security free. We used part of the hospital IGF to get Motorola. So the security system is improved. We've got street lights now working. So the Motorola street lights and all motorbikes have increased security. Otherwise, people were being attacked all over the hospital. You know, so I mean, there was a time that anesthesia twice want to go on strike. My daughters came, took money, 30,000 worth, and bought from the open air because of the operation, the difficulties to give mix and procurement and things like that. So when they issued that they want to go on strike, they brought all the anesthesia medicines that we did, and I think it was even captured on one of the stations. You know, and so 30,000 work anesthesia drugs were donated to Korle Bu, and that prevented people dying because otherwise there was going to be strike. You know,
I get you, but the problems of Korle Bu are not over.
Yeah.
What is left to be done?
There's a lot that needs to be done.
So, Doc, the appreciation of the problems of Korle Bu, I'm sure you know it. You've worked there, you've managed the place, and you understand it better. Now, from an outside perspective, What are the major problems that Korle Bu is facing, and can we ever resolve these?
Korle Bu's problem can be resolved. As we take both the internal and the external factors coming together in the interest of Mother Ghana to resolve the issue. I prefer not to define the internal and external factors. But let me put it this way: we need to have good corporate governance in our system. I worked for 1 year without a board.
It's strange. There are approvals that ought to be given by the board.
It's approval that should be given by the board. So without the board, it is God's grace that has been able to let Korle Bu grow in terms of all the vision. Most of the things that are put up as vision, we're able to move through. And it's surprising how we're able to, because of the cooperation we had, the little we had, and the some things that we have to pay, we're able to negotiate and be able to. But good corporate governance is very important.
Was it because you didn't like the board that was supposed to be appointed for you?
No, I don't have that power.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just a poor servant who...
Yeah, but I've heard in corporations where, because CEO says, I don't like this kind of people going to be the board chairman, or CEO has an interest in who was going to be the board chairman, so it prevents the person from being, and that brings a standoff.
No, put it this way. Like I told you, I've been more than 40 years in Korle Bu.
Yeah.
I've been to Korle Bu and worked in Korle Bu without taking a penny.
I see.
I put so much money from my own money that I don't want to put the figure, but I put so much money into Korle Bu. So if I say I know about the place, it will also be reflecting upon the place with the fact that there have been peace in Korle Bu, and the place is picking up. So obviously, with that passion that I want to let the place work, I can give an advice.
Certainly. I
can give a counsel that if you put this person there, we can move faster. The place can develop. There's nothing wrong with that.
I agree perfectly with you.
Because if I was to be taking salary or taking fire allowances or using petrol or using it, which I didn't take a peso from Korle Bu for the whole of 1 year. And I used my money to buy the food, so many things for the Korle Bu. I think that there was industrial peace. Anybody who is in the position to bring a board
should reference really.
I was in, do you understand? And so I can say, if you bring this person, we can be able to move ahead. And in quotes, because I know what to make the Korle Bu work.
I get you.
And probably if you give a counsel to the higher authority, that I think that this person will help us to develop Korle Bu the way we all want it to be. There's nothing wrong with it.
I agree perfectly with you.
So that probably is
that's
how it is.
The board matter, right?
Yeah, so that's I'm talking about the board matter in relation to corporate governance.
Yes.
And in terms of corporate governance, it also flows. For example, something I didn't really want to say, but I think it's in the interest of Ghana, that the day immediately this, even before I received the letter, and it came in the news that I was dismissed, the director of finance then reshuffled all people and put them as places that he did. He done that twice. And at board meetings, we said, no, it's not done this way. First, let us have an audit, human audit. Let's audit the place. How many people do we need for this? What are their qualifications?
Was he reshuffling?
Just a minute.
Accounting staff or a virtual body?
Accounting the finance staff.
Okay.
But we've agreed that it should be from management. You understand?
I get your point.
He did it on his own twice, and then we have to reverse it. And I said, it doesn't work in the interest of Korle Bu in terms of the people are said to be punished for something that they've done or not done, you know, and things like that. And it is not, it doesn't flow with good corporate governance. You know, the director of finance should not have the right just to be able to reshuffle anything against the not looking at what the CEO or the management has decided. Management has decided. It has not been changed. The fact that there's a news on the radio that the CEO is going, doesn't mean that immediately on that day, even without the CEO there, then you do what twice you have done, and the management has said reversed.
So, I mean,
so as we speak now, and it is still within because of corporate governance, and all these things are reflecting. That is creating another heads.
Okay, that's
because
interesting.
People don't like
what you spend time correcting.
It started again. You understand? And
what would be the motivation for anybody to do that?
It's obvious. I'm talking of the, finance.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about any other department.
Okay, so of course it's monetary in nature.
I'm not saying that.
Yes, but
I'm saying that what's the motivation? It's your guess is as good as mine. But I think that
has the decision been reversed or is still standing today?
I've handed over.
Oh, that's interesting.
From what I said, no. It is like the thing is being done like vengeance.
Yeah.
And like I'm the boss. I'm doing what I like. And that's not corporate governance. You see, Korle Bu should be handled with love. We should put right people at the right places. We should have a system that works. And we should have a management system that if the management says this, that is what will flow into it. People should not be allowed to be doing things like it was before. Do you understand? I'm talking of corporate governance.
Yeah.
And so there was no board for 1 year. And then if I have been employed by and given a letter, I thought it shouldn't be, excuse me, sir, it should be on the air that I'll hear something different. You know, but even on the air, he got to know, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got to know the following day, he has started reshuffling and put it. Even when I was handing over, he refused to come. He and the one I was going to hand over to, the two of them refused to come. You know, but I'm talking of good corporate governance. So all this is to be captured on a good corporate governance. You know. So the other thing is the other big thing is the imposed projects. Imposed projects on Korle Bu.
Who has imposed it on Korle Bu?
Especially the Ministry of Health.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know, and like I've talked about the oxygen, I've talked about the emergency, and the VAMED and the rest. But then, if you look at it, there's, for example, there's VAMED, and there's the emergency unit that the Saudis and the Kuwaitis and the Gambia, they have come together even to couch. This has been well done, and it will save lives. What we are calling bed management and the referral thing would never have happened if we have that one, even without the software. That one we also have the software. People, you see, my calling is a doctor.
Yes, I get
and my
you.
first calling is to save life.
Doc, I have a question.
Just a minute.
It's important to me.
Just a minute.
When you say impose projects, I say they don't need it, or the needed ones are there, but they're not being concentrated on.
Yeah, no, it is needed. But then, when it's imposed means that Korle Bu is not party to it. You know, so Korle Bu sits down and it is...
There's a project springing up.
So people know how much it costs. They go and take the project. They go and get... And then there's only... They just come and put it on Korle Bu. Korle Bu doesn't know who it is, what their duty is, who is the agent, what is this. And invariably, the projects are not able to get the effect they want. Korle Bu has to come like the emergency. We have to come and put ideas.
We do virtually everything.
The same thing again. But I'm talking about VAMED. And this is also risky because this is on the line. And this, I believe, this is one of the things that is causing me going out.
Which project is that? What's the name of the project?
It's called VAMED.
VAMED is what?
VAMED, it's the name of the company.
Okay, company doing all the projects that they are doing.
Just a minute. They are bringing, it's a kidney unit into this country. For 8 years, this thing has been going back and forth. And so and it's still the same impositions and things that are being done. So when I came in, and when I came in the following day, I was called to come for a meeting, and then I realized there was no agenda. And then I realized that the head of renal unit, kidney unit, was not invited. The head of urology was only told that morning.
But these are critical to the
These are the people who
run the system.
So I told them, we shouldn't go. Because it is not the way to run a company. So the ministry, we got the letter from the ministry by the Minister of Health, that we should come. And I said, what's the agenda? And he said, it's valid. So we didn't go. Later, it was recouched. And so when we went, I said, the way this thing is being rushed, it is for Korle Bu. We should involve the workers of Korle Bu into the project. And that's one. Two, it is important rather to have the system to look at kidney transplant first and foremost, and not kidney dialysis. So we have to re-engineer the issue so that kidney transplant becomes the problem. We have a lot of kidney dialysis centers. People don't have money for dialysis. People are dying because they don't have money for dialysis. But if we have a kidney transplant unit, what is the point in doing dialysis if we cannot do that? And then we go to India, and you don't have money to go to India to do the transplant. So the VAMED project has been there for 8 years. Within the 1 year, we're able to put in our foot down to say no, it is for Korle Bu. So the way things are being done outside Korle Bu must stop. Okay. So we should change it. Put in kidney transplant as a main thing, and then do it and let us be involved. Coincidentally, that is one. The second one is the Saudi one. Okay. This 1, 2, 4, they are ready to give us the money. But for at least 5 years, they're waiting. And it's only people in the ministry who are so powerful that this money cannot come out.
And what are they?
And if you touch them, you'll be made to go.
So, sorry, why are they obstructing progress? And that's the expression, because this is progress.
Your guess is as good as mine. But I'm saying that imposed projects, projects that are being coined outside the people who are to benefit, the people who know what they want, and the professionals who know what they want and what they have to do to make sure that they deliver Korle Bu the best of service. They are not involved in this. And I'm mentioning the VAMED, which has been there for 8 years, and I'm mentioning the Saudi fund, who for 5 years they are ready to give us the money, but they are not going to give us. I pray that even as I have left, Ghana should be able to be vigilant on this, that the Korle Bu who are to be beneficiaries, and Mother Ghana who are going to be relieved, those with kidney diseases, those who are going to benefit from the no birth syndrome and the rest. We should make sure that what is the amount of money that we're going to get, we should get value for money on these projects. So that's about one. We want to change this. But I said, brilliantly, the right policies. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
If we put the right policies, they're looking at the law, getting the LI to really speak into the Act 525. This also an amendment, and this can be done, and making sure that we can get the welfare policies, the rewarding policies, making sure that the financial directorate appears to be controlled not by the CEO, but by it's only the finance person who knows how many bank accounts are there, and he doesn't tell the CEO.
Really?
Even yes, it's only the finance director who
doesn't submit auditor reports.
I don't know if you write to him, he won't answer. And
how is that possible?
This all comes to the corporate governance.
That's interesting.
So I said, Korle Bu can move forward, but see, so the fact that if you let us see all this thing. So what I did was, because there was no response to my answers, bring all the accounts forward. Let's do who should be signatories. And I think that there should be this thing. But the signatories are not, you get a point. So the long and short is that under corporate governance, if we look at all the scheme, we should also look at the financial management, director of finance, who comes there and how he manages the finance. And when you touch him, if you are a CEO and you touch the director of finance too much, you go.
That's also a problem.
So these are some of the things that need to be done. What I did was to have a democratic system, got as good everybody from every department, from every unit. I've got cleaners, got orderlies, got the top consultants, got accountants, got everybody on a unit we call a stakeholders reconciliation committee to be able to deal under my office, but because I only have 4 people, so that they can work with the finance, get information, and then we have so many people who have not paid. Some even come and they owe the bank so much.
You debt.
Yes.
Korle Bu.
Yes.
Of all the money.
A lot of debts. And it's only the finance person.
How much is it?
Wait. It's only the finance directorate who knows how much it is. He has refused even to. I've never had a report on finance. In spite of all we ask, you don't get. And so I've had this directorate to to liaise with the directorate to get how many people do we owe, how do we pay them, so that they can give a report to the CEO. They have refused.
Doc, I've run out of time. This is a conversation we should continue some other time. But for now, I'm very grateful for joining us today. Well, folks, that's the immediate past CEO of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. A very wonderful gentleman. The Dr. Anyah was our guest on UPfront today. Thanks for watching.